You're okay. Don't move, don't move.
A new look at what happened after a woman was placed in the back of a Platteville police cruiser and hit by a train.
Body cam video reveals other officers did not know where that woman was when the train hit.
I didn't know she was in my car. When the train hit, I said, was she in my car? And she said, oh my God, she was.
Denver 7 gets results for a mother who wasn't getting anywhere with Frontier Airlines.
Our only options were to pay the cancellation fee or take the flight.
And Broncos country lets the team have it.
My son's high school team could beat the Denver Donkeys.
It's very embarrassing. They ought to give jerseys out for free.
This is sad, very sad.
Even Denver 7's own reaction to last night's loss is going viral.
The fact that you had to watch that on our air, I feel bad.
We're going in depth on how the team bounces back after being booed by Broncos fans in prime time.
If you're a true Denver Bronco fan, you are not going to boo your team.
Broncos country. That's right.
And good evening to you, and thank you for joining us for Denver 7 News at 6. I'm Ann Trujillo.
And I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're with us. So last night we started our broadcast before the Broncos game, standing in this exact spot with the Let's Ride right behind us, all excited for Thursday Night Football.
And then the prime game actually happened, and tonight we're going in depth on last night's loss to the Colts, the reactions, and how Broncos country moves forward with the rest of this season.
So first tonight, let's start with the injuries. Left tackle Garrett Bowles out for the season with a broken leg. Cornerback Ronald Darby out for the season with a torn ACL. Now, along with losing two key players, Broncos country is, well, let's call it frustrated with last night's performance. But is that anger warranted?
Now, the defense shined, as it usually does, and after all, it is only the 5th game of the season with a new quarterback leading the team.
However, head coach Nate Hackett, quarterback Russell Wilson, and most of the Broncos team has a lot of work to win back this fan base, I think, get their support back. Sports reporter Nick Rothschild joins us, whose immediate reaction after the game has gone viral today.
And Nick, it's mainly because you and Troy you apologized to the fans, right?
Yeah, and you and Shannon are magic. I don't know how you got all that.
Yeah, we're something.
Well, apparently Troy and I are famous now. Do we get paid for that, by the way?
Oh, yes. It's coming.
Anyway, who knew an apology would connect with folks in such a real and powerful way? Maybe Coach Hackett and Russell Wilson should have done that after the game, right? Saunter up to that podium and apologize. I'm sorry we got your hopes up. I'm sorry we then crushed those hopes and dreams. But most of all, I'm sorry for stealing $245 million to basically be Davis Mills. Guess who that last one is? Short of an apology, at least both Wilson and Hackett are fighting over who's to blame.
Whether it be a penalty, whether it be a drop, a misexecution, things like that, and it starts with me. I have to do better coaching the guys. I have to do a better job at making sure that the guys know where to be, when to be there, and Russ to be able to see it and be able to execute it.
You know, I let the team down tonight. It's not on Coach Hackett. It's not on anybody else. He's called some really good plays. You know, we got to make the plays. I got to be able to hit it, and we got to be able to get that first down, this and that, whatever it is.
Well, the gambling community seems to be placing the blame on the head ball coach because after that mess on TNF, BetOnline has moved Hackett above Panthers head coach Matt Rule as the odds-on favorite to be the next NFL coach fired. So yeah, things not going so well in Broncos country these days. But a bit of good news before I go. Baron Browning, who looked like an absolute menace last night before hurting his wrist, considered day-to-day going forward. So relatively speaking, he should be fine for the Chargers game on Monday. And they need to use this weekend to get their minds right. You know, just
absolutely
flush this and move on because there's still a lot of games to be played.
That's
focus.
Right. Let's focus on that.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
And as Nick mentioned, the Broncos' $245 million investment in Russell Wilson isn't exactly paying off yet. And going deeper tonight, he is currently 2 for 18 in pass attempts in the end zone. I also checked out ESPN's ranking on Wilson's quarterback performance last night. So out of a possible 100, ESPN is giving Wilson a paltry 15.9 ranking.
And I stumbled upon these stats on Twitter, courtesy of StatMuse. And remember these faces, Broncos country? Former Broncos quarterbacks Brock Osweiler, Trevor Siemian, Drew Lock. Yeah, they all did better in their first 5 starts with the Broncos than Russell Wilson, and that includes more touchdowns, a better completion percentage, and a higher quarterback rating. Now, can only get better, right?
Yeah.
And here at Denver 7, our Broncos hotline blew up, both during and after the game.
We received the most calls ever to our Broncos hotline, more than 500 voicemails and still counting.
Yeah, Denver 7's Russell Haythorne has more on Broncos country's reactions to the game.
Hey, the Broncos are winning today. Not in a good way. They are social media rock stars, including this meme, Russell with a helmet malfunction, and then there's this one, Russell on a wanted poster, and Broncos country also lighting up the Denver 7 Broncos hotline with 600 voicemails.
Thanks for calling our Denver 7 Broncos voicemail hotline. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I'd like to ask the Broncos if they can give me the last 3.5 hours of my life back.
Russell Wilson was a huge mistake. That last pass in overtime, that was pitiful.
How much you pay for the new guy? $20? No, too much money. He's no good.
Hey Denver, Chiefs Kingdom calling here. Whatever you guys are doing like you did last night, keep it up. We love it.
The Denver Broncos are absolutely disgusting.
I say fire them all. Fire all of them.
And here at Empower Field, you can feel that frustration among fans.
It was pretty shocking. You're coming here expecting, Wilson to produce.
The coach and Wilson, they're not on the same page.
The Denver 7 sports team even making national headlines for apologizing after the game.
He came out and looked as bad as I've ever seen him. What has happened to this team?
First off, Troy, I feel the need to just apologize to the viewers.
And it burns the retinas. It was that awful. Both teams stunk offensively. They deserve this loss, and there needs to be some consequences.
I have never seen a group of sportscasters be such turncoats on their team. When they're good, you can't smile enough. And when they're bad, you are just wicked. Just wicked. You should all be ashamed of yourselves. Goodbye.
National sports writers, however, backing up our Denver 7 team. Sports Illustrated writing today, it's more than fair to start pointing the finger at Russell Wilson. Wilson, for his part, shouldering much of the blame after the game.
It's very simple. I think at the end of the day, I got to be better. I got to play better.
I feel like this Denver Broncos offense is honestly like this bucking Bronco waiting to get out. Tons of potential. We're just waiting to get it rocking. The season's still ours. It's only 2-3.
The ride thus far has been a bumpy one for Broncos fans, but hey, consider this. Peyton Manning in his first 5 games as a Bronco also went 2-3. That team went on to win 11 straight, going 13-3 on the season. There's hope. I'm Russell Haythorne at Empower Field.
Yep, I'm with you. There is hope. And no matter the Broncos situation right now, it is important to remember that we do have a current championship team in Colorado. We are officially 5 days out from the start of the Avalanche season. The first regular season game is on Wednesday at Ball Arena against the Chicago Blackhawks. And that'll also be a very special night with a championship banner that will be hoisted at Ball Arena.
Well, last month, we first told you about a 22-year-old woman who was severely injured when being hit by a train while in the back of a Platteville police car.
And 1 week later, we received this video showing the moment when that cruiser was hit with Yareni Rios Gonzalez inside.
Well, today, Denver 7 obtained even more body cam video revealing that one of the Platteville officers on the scene was shocked to find Rio Gonzalez was inside his cruiser that was hit.
So breaking down this new video is Denver 7's Byron Wang.
Move your car!
Oh my God! Oh my God!
It's the horrifying moment that should have never happened, making headlines across the country for weeks. 20-year-old Yareni Rios Gonzalez is handcuffed in the back seat, detained after allegedly pointing a gun at another driver.
Where are you taking me? We're taking you to the car.
A Platteville police car belonging to Sergeant Pablo Vasquez that was clearly parked on train tracks, as seen on this edited Fort Lupton police officer's body cam.
Ma'am, what's going on?
As Vasquez and the Fort Lupton officer searched Rios Gonzalez's car, the attorney says she cried out for help, noticing the train approaching long before officers did. Now we know why Sergeant Vasquez didn't react sooner.
I didn't realize how close I was to the tracks, and it took the rear end of my car. It just threw it. It just like moved it. It moved it about a good 60 yards.
Unaware that he had parked on the tracks and telling other officers he had no idea Rios Gonzalez was placed in his car.
I didn't think the Lupton officer was going to put her in my car. I just didn't. And she did. She put her in my car. Well, I didn't know she was in my car because I remember when the train hit, I said, was she in my car? And she said, oh my God, she was.
You're okay. Don't move. What's your name?
Rios Gonzalez is heard moaning. Her attorney says the impact broke 9 ribs, her arm, fractured her sternum, and injured her leg, head, and back. Digging even deeper into this case, Denver 7 obtained the Weld County dispatch reports.
We cannot open the damn door.
It took nearly 20 minutes to pry open the mangled door and extricate Rios Gonzalez, who now has a very long path to recovery. Bayan Wang, Denver 7.
Rio Gonzalez's attorney tells us she is slowly beginning to walk again, but still in a lot of pain. They plan on suing both the Platteville and Fort Lupton police departments, alleging that the officers were negligent.
2 drivers behind the wheel of Lamborghinis crashed into each other last night in downtown Denver. And the crash happened shortly after the Broncos game near the corner of Colfax and Spear. One passenger was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Police say witnesses told them both drivers revved their engines at a stoplight and accelerated as fast as possible. These are quotes right before that crash happened. And both drivers, 28-year-old Hunter Hinson and 32-year-old, Alexis Doyle, were arrested on DUI charges.
A Colorado mother was angry when she couldn't get a refund from Frontier Airlines after she canceled her flight because of Hurricane Ian.
Denver 7 investigative producer Kelly Dietz got to work and called Frontier to get her a solution.
This is Kelly Dietz calling from Denver 7. Shannon Griffin was originally planning on traveling to the beach on Saturday with her husband and 1-year-old. But in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian, she says she didn't feel safe flying into the city. On top of that,
we don't have a place to stay when we get down there because they don't have power currently.
Shannon tells Contact Denver 7 Frontier's cancellation policy would only earn her about $60 back out of the total $550 she paid for the flights. And because Frontier didn't cancel their flight, she couldn't get a refund on her trip.
That the governor was mandating that people not go down there for commercial use because, people are trying to get down there for relief efforts. And so, we are just trying to do our part and not go down there.
So Contact Denver 7 reached out to Frontier to get answers, to see if anything could be done to help her and her family out.
Let me update this real quick.
A spokesperson for Frontier tells me they're sensitive to the conditions there due to Ian, now offering Shannon a full credit towards a different flight of her choosing. Shannon tells me her original flight was set to depart tomorrow morning, so this last-minute change is a big weight off her shoulders. I'm Kelly Dietz, Denver 7.
That's a first for me because I've never had to rent a post office box. And they said, well, that's the way it is.
For years, locals in one Colorado town were forced to pay to get their mail through USPS.
That was until some of them fought back.
That was an outcome that was just a joyful moment for not only me, but most of the community.
Looks like a nice quiet night here across the Front Range. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s as we head through our evening, but things warming up going into the weekend, and I'll have your forecast coming up.